good at plus 50 punting, isn't he?
You know, we talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago. You know, he's playing better in the red zone and the fringe red zone. You know, I go back to the Atlanta game, you know, where we had that ball to plus 39 or plus 38, and he kicked the touchback, right? So he certainly has progressed from there. He's worked extremely hard at it, and I think our protection team's doing a good job as well. And then we've made some plays for him, you know, on the outside. Rudy's made a play, and Scooter's made a play down there, and so that's all part of it. But hopefully it'll continue.
You know, we talked last week about how you play in December kind of determines the success of a kicker. What do you think of what Anders was able to do in that fourth quarter there?
Well, certainly, you know, he had some opportunities that were advantageous to us, and, you know, he came through for us. So, again, we talked about it. You know, I told him when in the beginning of the year, you know, everybody loved you. You were making a lot of kicks. We missed some PATs, and nobody likes you anymore. And now we made a couple of kicks, and everybody likes you again. So, you know, it's part of the position, right? It's a little bit like just the consistency of what we're trying to see in practice hopefully keeps transpiring over to how he plays in the game. And I think that's what we saw last week. He had a really good week of practice last week here in the breeze a little bit, and hopefully he had a good day yesterday, and hopefully he continues tomorrow, and hopefully it'll just keep showing up on the positive end of the games.
Field goal ends up being 10 yards longer because of the sack, which I understand. You want the clock to move. I get that. But from a kicker's mindset, like, does it change at all for him after that play? Or is it just it's a 10-yard longer kick and that's just the way it is?
I don't want to speak for him, but I think what we try to do a bunch is that every kick's the same. You know what I mean? You'd like to have the pure hit, your alignment's the same. And I think where guys get in trouble at times is the kick becomes all of a sudden it's a 63-yarder. I got to hit it really hard, and then you cup the ball and it goes left, or some of those things. So I think what we work on a bunch, and what he would tell you maybe, is that he works on having the consistent ball strike all the time. So we liked that way, you know, towards the end of the game, going that way. He hit well in the pregame going that way, so I think he had a good sense of confidence if the snap hold was well, that he could hit a good ball there, and he did.
Obviously, I mean, that was a super big kick. Does that matter in the grand scheme of a guy's career, or is each kick just so individual that he's got a banked big kick really doesn't have much bearing on things?
Yeah, maybe all of the above. You know, I think we all talk about every kick matters, and it doesn't always have to come down to the last kick to be the most important point or points in the game, right? We all talk about the most important point in football is the extra point. Look what happened to us in Pittsburgh, right? Who knew it was going to come down to we're chasing a touchdown instead of chasing a field goal because of the 1 point difference. So I think to your question, every kick matters in its own way. When it happens during the course of a game, I think matters. We just look at the ones at the end of the game where it's a game winner or a game loser as being the most important kick. But I think throughout the game, every kick matters to them, their confidence as the game is going on. And then certainly as their career goes on, I still think every kick matters.
What's the challenge this week?
Challenge this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, multi-formational punt team from them. You know, they're doing all kinds of different punt formations, kind of maybe where they are in the field a little bit. It's a lefty punter, first one this year that we faced. He's working some rugby rollout punts to both sides. So to get prepared for those formations, he's done a good job with not giving up a lot of return yards. They've got a good return game, kickoff return. Their number 0 for him is fast and physical and finish runs. And then playing up there at that stadium, whatever the conditions may be, it'll be the same for both, but it'll certainly be first time for Honors, you know, playing up there. So it'll be a good challenge for us against this group. I think they got 4 exceptional players in their coverage unit, so for us to have a chance to block them and make a play will be difficult. So we'll see what it looks like, but it's a good challenge.
Rich, how valuable has it been to have like Eric Wilson, you know, as a kind of a 7th-year veteran that's been there, done that, seen it all, you know, with your units and being able to kind of be a leader in that area?
Yeah, again, I think, you know, getting some of those guys, him, and then, you know, we got Christian, obviously, a little bit later, and you know, the way McDuffie plays for us. And so some of those guys that have played, whether it's been here or on other teams, have bought into what we're trying to do here and the play style we're trying to play with, and have been really good leaders, but they've also been good performers for us. I think the biggest thing is guys have to put themselves in position to make plays and then perform well, or else you know, we look to go get somebody else, right? They know that more than anybody else. So I just think it's been good to have his leadership, his calming presence. I would say, just like we talked about Matt, what he does for the kicker and what he does for the punter. Those guys that have played a lot of football seem to get some of the younger guys to settle down a little bit and hopefully perform well in the game.
Rich, I had a couple of guys in the locker room reference a quote that you like. I want to make sure I get it right. Be self-confident enough to be self-critical enough.
That's it.
Can you give me the whole thing?
Be self-confident enough to be self-critical. You did it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, I think you have to understand that, you know, what you see on tape is who we are, right? So I'd like those guys to pick out their best play that they've had somewhere in the game, their best play, and then expect me to hold them. That's the standard that's been set for them. And I think when we watch the tape at the end of a game, the win or the loss, in my opinion, is irrelevant. Are we getting better as the game's going on? And that they play to that standard of that play every time they went out there. So I think they have to be self-confident enough to be self-critical when you look at the tape. And if you walk by one of the mistakes that they made, they should bring it to my attention. Because if we walk by it and we all let it go, well, now that's the new standard we've set. So that's...
So the reason it came up was kind of in the context of you guys are winning now, and that sometimes winning some people might brush the negatives under the rug because you're winning. Is that can you see these last couple weeks after going through the tough times that guys are doing a good job of still being self-critical even though you're having success now?
Yeah, no, I think they're very self-critical, and I think we're very critical. I think we do a good job of not letting a win or a loss mask the problems, right? And there's things that come up. It may look like we played really well in the game, but there's things we have to look at, you know, were our eyes in the right place on every punt protection? Was our set the right way? Were we, you know, really in the right position, or did we just happen to get away with it? Is it something, you know, I like to look at the tape and go, hey guys, they're looking at this now. This is what they see going against us. Are they going to try to exploit this? We have to clean this up. So I think that's where it comes from. I think as a player, you have to be self-confident in order to play well. But you have to be self-critical enough, I think, to understand that there is still better play you can have in there.